Hi, welcome to Musing with Michelle on Monday. Today is National Potato Day. So I have a question for you. Do you fear these innocent looking potatoes? In just a few minutes, I'm going to give you some evidence-based research to determine whether or not these vegetables are your friend or your enemy. But for now, if this is the first time you're meeting me, I'm Michele, the CEO and founder of Make Healthy Fit, a holistic nutrition health coach, author, speaker, and someone who survived emotional trauma. Now I have the joy of helping other women achieve their goals by assessing how all areas of their life, mind, body, and spirit are connected. So let's talk about the potato. First of all, the potato didn't always have a bad rep. As a matter of fact, in our history, the Inca Indians used them as part of survival. And so in a little bit, I'm going to talk about how they got a bad rep, but let's first talk about the benefits. There has been research on 100 different varieties of potatoes that have shown 60 different nutrients, things like flavonoids, vitamins, phytochemicals that really have tremendous health benefits for our body. They also have something called starch in them, which acts almost like fiber, which doesn't digest in your digestive tract very easy. And fiber and this starch together and makes you feel full. And it also has benefits, the starch has benefits to your digestive tract because it helps to repopulate or feed the good bacteria in your digestive tract, helping to prevent colon cancer. Because it keeps us full, and this was a shock to me, there was also research done on 40 different foods to determine which ones keep you fuller longer, sort of in the same category of potatoes. And potatoes was number one. So what that means is it can act as an appetite suppressant and make you feel full longer and aid in weight loss. Who knew, right? Because we're going to talk about the other side where, potatoes have gotten a bad rep in the weight world. The other thing that's healthy about it is there are phytocompounds that help lower the blood pressure, your blood pressure, so it's known to be a heart healthy food. Now let's go and, what's going on in America now? Well, the first thing to know is that we still have a lot of people enjoying potatoes out there. On average, every person eats 110 pounds of potatoes a year. But where it started getting a bad reputation was that even though there's people out there loving their potatoes, there's another group who became so weight conscious that they were trying to lose weight in a quicker fashion. And businesses look for problems that people have. They look for gaps and say, how do I solve their solution? And they come up with ways to do that. Even in my own health and wellness business, I'm here to serve. I want to serve people, and I want to come up with programs that are going to help them. But when people have an idea that weight loss is something to be done quickly, well, a company's going to try to feed that. And so it started with the Atkins diet, where they really created this program that was very low carb. And over time, Atkins even changed that because people weren't following it right. There were stages of the program and people were just keeping carbs out altogether. And that's not necessarily healthy because, again, your brain needs and your body about 13% of its energy to come from carbohydrates. And so as this evolved, potatoes got a bad reputation because they're high in starch, and people didn't care whether those diets were working or not. It still became the enemy. And in the book that I wrote, I mentioned that I think it was 61 million or some astronomical number of money is being spent in the weight loss industry. And that was just a few years ago, a couple of years ago, which really shows that whatever we're doing to help people with weight loss isn't working. And so I want you to keep an open mind and understand that one food may be good for someone, and that same food may be your poison. And that is no different than potatoes. So that's what we're going to talk about next, is the other reasons why potatoes get a bad reputation. One of the reasons is we do a lot of frying with potatoes, whether they're French fries, potato chips, hash browns, and whatever other way people want to cook them. And when you cook potatoes at a high temperature, it changes something in that process of cooking. And I'm not going to go and tell you the terms for all of the transition that it makes, but it becomes harmful to your body. So if you're eating a lot of fried, high temperature foods, especially potatoes, it can cause brain and nerve damage, and it's also linked with higher risk for cancer. The second is it's what we put on the potato. People heap up sour cream, they heap up butter, or they heap up cheese. And all of that has saturated fat. And if you're putting all of them on there, then you have even a bigger problem. You've got a calorie problem, you've got a very high saturated fat problem, and then you also have all of those carbohydrates that are coming in from the potato. So you're going to gain weight because you just put tons of calories and tons of fat and tons of starch in your body. The only other reason that potatoes have gotten a bad rap, and many people don't know about this, is potatoes are put in this category called nightshades. And nightshades are known to have toxic phytonutrients in them. And that is linked with some mild symptoms like headaches, also vomiting, and there's several other mild conditions, but there has been a few rare conditions of severe, almost like an allergic reaction to those types of foods, and potatoes is one of them. So that brings me to sort of summarize this, that potatoes have tons of health benefits, but if you cook them wrong, if you eat too much, especially of the processed ones like potato chips, they're going to harm your body. If you load them with a lot of foods that are going to increase your weight, it's going to hurt your body. And because potatoes are a starchy food, just like any other starchy food, only it's a good starchy food. It's not a donut. It's not a cookie high in sugar. It naturally produces a lot of sugar because that's what happens to any starchy food. And it's going to make your blood sugars rise. So for a diabetic, if you're a diabetic, and you're struggling with blood sugars, well then a potato is probably not your friend right now. Now, I was a type 2 diabetic headed for insulin. I was on 3 meds. But because I healed my body with food, taking out the things that were hurting me at the time and not serving my body, eating less of them, I was able to reverse my insulin resistance. And now I can eat potatoes. But I choose to eat sweet potatoes because I think white potatoes are dry unless I load them with all that stuff. And I don't want all of that calorie and I don't mind having some of that fat periodically because our bodies need fats, and butter is not necessarily your enemy. It's how much you eat it again. And how much you're eating overall in fats. So potatoes itself are not bad for you unless you're having a reaction, unless you're a diabetic struggling with your blood sugars, or you're already overweight and you're trying to lose weight and you're putting too much starch in your body, which raises your insulin. When your blood sugars rise, it produces a lot of insulin, and sometimes that excess food that you're eating, you don't need any more energy, so it stores it as more fat. But we all have to listen to our bodies. So my challenge for you is to take ownership for what works for you. You know, I mentioned before that, you know, businesses are out there trying to solve your problems, but they're going to give you what you want because that's how they make money, right? And if you want it the fast way, the quick way, they're going to give it to you and they're going to tell you it's safe. Do your own research. That is my challenge for you. And there is a great site called Healthline that has a lot of evidence-based articles in it. Certainly there are great doctors, functional medicine doctors out there that have some really credible articles that I really, you know, refer to as well, and they will cite that same literature. But each one of us has our own opinions about what's good or bad. And what I'm trying to do is to show you both sides of the enemy piece of potatoes and the friend piece. And you have to decide what that is in your life. It's no different than someone who gets addicted to sugar, because once you start eating sugar, it's as addictive as heroin, and they may need to, like, you know, crowd it out with sweet vegetables and things like that for a while because it's not serving their body, and they need to sort of get over that addiction. And if that's like me, if that's how I saw potatoes, if I can't have a potato without a half a stick of butter, then I'm not going to eat it unless I go out and I'm celebrating. I love white potatoes. I don't really avoid them per se. It's just not something I really need anymore. So I hope that I've shed light on some things for you today. And there is one other thing I did forget to mention. If you let cooked potatoes, not the fried ones, but boiled, roasted, cool down and use them in potato salad, it does bring that glycemic index down a little bit, which doesn't raise your blood sugar as much. So if you are going to eat potatoes, you know, eat small portions, a lot of carbs in them. And, you know, if you're at an event, know that, you know, potato salad might have a little bit less impact on your blood sugars, but just don't eat a whole lot of starchy things all at one time. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I want to thank you for being here. And until we talk next Monday, I wish you peace, love, and a great time ahead. Bye-bye.